Hello, welcome to this special video. This is going to be an Ivan's video essay on writing a novel. As you guys see, I'm currently working on my very unique book. I actually finished chapter 1 today. And I thought it'd be cool to make a short video essay about writing a novel, obviously. A lot of aspiring authors out there think writing a novel is tough. Well, by tough, what do you mean? In terms of your creativity or coming up with your characters? There's just context when you have to answer that question. But my advice to all you aspiring authors out there, whether you want to write romance or fantasy, the genre that I tackled, I recommend you read as much books as you can, like the greats like Stephen King, Brandon Sanderson, George R. Martin, J.K. Rowling, and Jasmine Guillory if you want to get into romance. As you can see in this video here, I'm currently finishing chapter 1 of Their Unique, and I'm writing it on my notebook first, as later on you'll see me write it on the computer afterwards. Why do you do that? Well, for me personally, I think it's best to write on your notebook first when you're writing your novel, and then after that write on your computer, as you focus much better writing on a notebook compared to writing on a computer. Also, if you save your file on a USB or on your laptop, on your desktop, for example, and you lose your file, you always have your notebook to go back and rewrite your story. And I find you actually focus much better when you write on your notebook and then after, compared to writing it on the computer, because you focus better, you think better, as you see me writing the end of chapter 1 for Their Unique in this video. A lot of people might ask me, Ivan, what's your advice for the daily goal of writing your novel? Well, it just depends on your situation. If you have a family, you want to spend time with your kids, and you don't have to write as much words a day. But my advice I would recommend is try to aim for 1,000 words a day. If you're too stressed out and you want to spend more time with your kids, if you have a family, aim at writing maybe 2 pages a day, as I now achieved my goal of finishing chapter 1 of Their Unique. I was writing 2 pages a day for the past 2.5 to 3 weeks. And as you see in this video, I'm currently wrapping up chapter 1, The Small Town, of my Their Unique novel that I'm currently writing right now. Yeah. So Ivan, are you saying that it just depends on your daily goals and your situation? Yes. If you have a family and you want to spend more time with your kids, and I recommend you don't do 5 pages a day. That can take you maybe 2 hours a day. You can do maybe 2 pages a day. It only takes approximately 20 minutes to write 2 pages on your computer, and also write on your notebook, which I recommend you do first before typing your manuscript on the computer. You guys see what I'm saying here? Hope you guys are enjoying this video essay from Ivan O'Meara. I'm doing my very best here. Yeah. So Ivan, are you saying that if you write 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 pages a day, you can finish a novel? Yes. If you set a goal, if you want to write a romance novel or a fantasy novel, if you set a daily goal to write maybe 2 pages a day or 5 pages a day, in a good 5 to 6 to 7, 8 months, 9 months, maybe even 10 months, you can finish your novel, depending on what genre you're tackling. Romance is usually a lot shorter than fantasy. Epic fantasy novels are usually longer in the industry. So it just depends on what book you're writing, what genre you're writing. It all depends on your situation. Or if you really want to spend time with your family, you can write maybe 3 times a week and spend the next 4 days with your family. It just depends on your current situation. If you have a family or if you're single. If you're single and you don't have children, then you could dedicate 5 pages a day, 3 pages a day, 4 pages a day to finishing your fantasy novel. But you have to be consistent and persistent. Otherwise, if you're not persistent or consistent, that could be the death of you finishing your fantasy novel. As a lot of aspiring fantasy authors, they quit because they're lazy or they don't set a daily goal in finishing their novel. They end up procrastinating. Before you know it, years go by and they haven't even finished their novel, as that happened with me. It took me approximately 8 years to finish my last Roseanne's fantasy novel because of my procrastination. But finally in 2019, I set a goal for myself to write 5 pages every day, and that worked. And I ended up finishing the novel in a good 10-11 months. I finished my last Roseanne's fantasy novel. So that's my personal experience. Ivan, do you recommend this for every aspiring author? Yes, but every aspiring author has different situations they have to tackle, obviously. Some of those aspiring authors might have a family, they might have children, some might be single, some might be going through a crisis in their life. It just all depends on the situation that you're in. So the advice I'm giving you is a general advice, but it all depends on context and the situation that the author is in, obviously. Yeah. Now, you guys are all familiar with George R. Martin. George R. Martin wrote a 5-book series. His last published book in the Song of Ice and Fire series was Dance with Dragons in 2011, and since then he hasn't published or made an announcement about his progress and updated progress for Winds of Winter and Dream of Springs. Why, Ivan? Well, there's a few reasons. I believe George R. Martin, he might have writer's block. He can't come up with a good idea for his story to end his story, or he's distracted by and preoccupied by a lot of side work in Hollywood, or he lost the will to finish the series. He just wants to enjoy his millions that he made off his Song of Ice and Fire Game of Thrones IP. Those would be my 3 answers. I don't know which one is true, but one of those answers are obviously true. But given the fact that George R. Martin published 2 books about the history of the Targaryens, like Fire and Blood and his other novel that he wrote, obviously George R. Martin has time to finish Winds of Winter. So my guess is that George R. Martin is struggling to finish Winds of Winter and Dream of Springs because he has writer's block. He can't come up with a good idea for the ending of his story, which happens. That's why, for me personally, I recommend all fantasy authors, aspiring fantasy authors, stick to the 1-3 rule. Only write 3 books in your series and move on to another series. That way you don't have creative burnout like George R. Martin could perhaps have right now, as he could be struggling to finish his Song of Ice and Fire series. But no one knows the answer, only George R. Martin knows, obviously. Ivan, what novels sell the most? Well, according to my research, plot-driven stories tend to be more commercial-driven. Those books are the ones who tend to sell the most, as my Very Unique Story and my Xander story is more plot-driven than character-driven. So if you want to have a higher shot at selling more copies, I recommend you write a more plot-driven romance novel or fantasy novel, depending what genre you're tackling. But it doesn't hurt to also have pretty well-developed characters, as characters in your story are very important when you write your fantasy novel or your romance novel or your science fiction novel, whatever genre you're tackling. If you want to lean more into the commercial, wider appeal, obviously plot-driven novels, books is the way to go. If you're more into niche markets, then character-driven would be the best bet for you, for all you aspiring authors out there who want to write their own fantasy novel or their own romance novel or their own science fiction novel. It just depends on what path, what goal you're achieving for your novel, what goal you want to set for your novel. It all depends on your current situation, your audience. It's all part of the context. You guys know what I'm saying? Excuse if I'm a little bit sloppy. This is my first time doing a voiceover video essay on writing a novel. So I'm doing my very best, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this amazing video essay from Ivan O'Meara about writing a novel. As you can see in this video here, I'm writing down the end of chapter 1 of my very unique romance novel with a pen and a notebook, because I find I focus much better writing on pen to paper than writing directly on a computer, because I think better. I recommend all you aspiring authors write on your notebook first with a pencil or a pen. That way you think better and you concentrate better, and after that you can write it on your laptop or your computer. I think that's the best way to go. It's the easier way to go with your creativity of your mind flowing as you write your novel, whatever genre you're writing. See what I'm saying? Excuse, my lighter fell down. Ivan, what is the hardest genre to write? Well, in my opinion, I would say fantasy is the hardest genre to write. As fantasy, you have to create a fictional world. You have to make it believable, and you have to make your characters in that world feel believable. You have to come up with magic systems, a great villain for your story. Fantasy is obviously the most difficult to tackle, and a lot of aspiring authors do want to tackle fantasy because fantasy has the highest potential in terms of your book becoming a bestseller, but it's tough as you have to create a fictional fantasy world and make it believable and make your characters in that world feel believable. Romance and science fiction are a little bit more easier to tackle, but for romance you have to be good at displaying emotion on the page, like love and drama. Whereas for science fiction, you got to have a little bit of knowledge about science. Even though it's fictional science, you still have to have a little bit of science knowledge to write science fiction. But in my personal opinion, I know other authors might disagree with me. In my personal opinion, I believe fantasy is obviously the most difficult genre to tackle. As fantasy, you have to create a fictional world and make your characters in that world feel believable. So it could be a bit tougher for a lot of aspiring authors to write an amazing fantasy book, because fantasy is all make-believe, it's all fiction. There are two kinds of fantasy. There is high fantasy, there is low fantasy. Well, Ivan, what's the difference? Well, the difference between high fantasy and low fantasy, it's fantasy, but you're mixing real life locations in your fantasy world. For example, Harry Potter. Harry Potter is obviously low fantasy. Even though they have the School of Hogwarts and they're wizards, which is make-believe, Harry Potter lives in England, and Hogwarts is in England or next to England. Whereas high fantasy, your whole world is completely make-believe. For example, my book Last of Xanus, you have Xanus, you have Saphis. Those are completely make-believe worlds. There's no reality or real worlds mixed in my story. Lord of the Rings, you have Middle Earth. That's high fantasy, whereby everything is make-believe. There is no real life locations mixed in with your fantasy world. Whereas Harry Potter is a good example for low fantasy. Even though it's fantasy, there's a lot of real life locations mixed in with the fantasy world of Harry Potter, like the Hogwarts school. That's fantasy, but Harry Potter lives in England. Those are the two differences between high fantasy and low fantasy. You guys see what I'm saying here? Almost done this video essay. This will be about a 20-minute video essay. So Ivan, what's the best advice you can give aspiring fantasy authors or romance authors, whatever genre the aspiring authors are tackling? What's the best advice you can give for improving your writing? Well, based off my personal experience, the best way to improve your writing is to keep practicing your writing. It doesn't hurt to read some of the great authors who wrote in your genre that you're currently writing for your novel, for your manuscript. But the best advice I can give you is just keep practicing your writing. I got it on my first try. My first book I ever wrote was an Islamic story. It wasn't as good as my Xanus story, but that's how I learned from my mistakes. And after deleting that file, and I started working on my Xanus fantasy novel, I honed my craft in writing. I was able to complete my amazing fantasy novel, obviously. So the best advice I can give all you aspiring authors out there is you need to just keep writing and practicing your writing. Some people might get it on their first try, their second try, their third try, their fourth try. Some people might even get it on their 10th, 15th try, but that's how you keep practicing your writing, and that's how you keep getting better. It doesn't hurt to study the greats like George R. Martin, J.K. Rowling, J.R. Tolkien. See how those guys wrote their books and keep reading, and that's how you can improve your writing. It doesn't hurt to also take creative writing classes too if you have the money to pay for that. But the best way for you to practice your writing, guys, you have to keep practicing your writing. Keep writing. That's how you improve your writing as an aspiring author. That will be my advice to all the aspiring authors out there who are writing fantasy, romance, science fiction, and what have you. You guys see what I'm saying here? Before I shut this video essay, before I end this video essay video, some of you aspiring authors might be asking me, Ivan, what's the best path to take? Traditional publishing or self-publishing? It just depends on your goals and your goals as an aspiring author. If you just want to make a lot of money, if you want to make more money and be more simple, do YouTube videos and that kind of stuff, you don't appear on magazines or a Jimmy Fallon show or something like that, and self-publishing is obviously the better path for you. And for self-publishing, you do maintain full control over your novel. But if you want to be famous and you want to be featured on magazines and be on a Jimmy Fallon show, obviously, and have your books at bookstores as opposed to self-publishing where your book is sold online in most cases, then traditional publishing is the best path for you to go. But for traditional publishing, you make less money and you don't have control over the rights of your fantasy novel or your romance novel, whatever novel you write. Whereas self-publishing, the novel is 100% yours. You maintain full control and the rights of the novel is yours. So it just depends what path is better for you. Me personally, I would recommend self-publishing. But if you're someone who's struggling financially, obviously traditional publishing will be the best path to go. As traditional publishing, you don't have to pay a dime to get your book proofread, design your cover. The publishing houses, if you get signed by a big publishing house or independent publishing house, they handle all that dirty work for you. Where self-publishing, you have to do everything yourself. It costs us more money, but you maintain full control over your novel. So it just depends on your situation. If you're not rich and you don't have much money, then self-publishing is obviously not the best way to go. Traditional publishing is the better way to go. If you have some money lying around and you want to own and maintain full control of your novel and you want to be more simple, you don't want to be like famous in the public eye, obviously self-publishing will be the better path for you. So it just depends on your goals and your needs, whether to choose which path is obviously better for you, self-publishing or traditional publishing. Me personally, I think self-publishing is better. But there are some people who think traditional publishing is a better path to go. So it just depends on your needs and your goals when you want to get your manuscript published. So I hope you guys enjoyed this amazing video essay from Ivan O'Meara. I thought it'd be cool to make a video essay on writing a novel. This is a short video, it's only 20 minutes long. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm a bit sloppy, guys. Excuse my sloppiness. This is my first time doing a video essay, as doing a video essay is not easy. So to all you aspiring authors out there who want to be famous, or you want your novel, your fantasy novel, your romance novel to be published, whether traditionally or or independently, obviously just don't give up. Just keep practicing your writing. That's how you get better as a writer. Doesn't hurt to take creative writing classes and read some of the greats and keep practicing your writing, guys. That's the best way for you to hone your craft in writing. That's the advice from Ivan O'Meara, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video essay from Ivan O'Meara. As you guys can see, I'm in the zone writing down the final moments of my chapter 1 of my very unique romance novel, and I'm going to type it on the computer afterwards. So I hope you guys enjoyed this amazing video essay from Ivan O'Meara. Hope you guys learned from my video essay. And that's all I got to say, guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. And to all you aspiring authors out there, don't give up. Just keep writing, keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. Have a great day, guys. Bye. This is Ivan O'Mara. Bye.